first offensive snap. Jalen Carter ejected after the opening kickoff. Here's what happens. Carter walks towards the Cowboys huddle. Dak Prescott spits in his general direction. That hits the ground. Carter responds by spitting on Prescott. The official sees it. Carter was penalized and ejected. Here were his comments after the game.
You know, it was a mistake that happened on my side, and just won't happen again. Just not being able to start the game, even finish the game, it's me up, but we'll get it better. It won't happen again.
I was just looking at him. I was right here by the two linemen, and yes, I needed to spit, and I wasn't going to spit on my lineman, and I just spit ahead. And he asked, or he goes, "You trying to spit on me?" And at that point, I mean, I felt like he was insulting me. Like I wouldn't spit on somebody. I'm damn sure not trying to spit on you. Like we're about to play a game.
Why You're not going to spit on a guy that's trying to destroy you. Yeah. I don't think any quarterback in their right mind knows that.
Teddy referred multiple times in the beginning of the show to the point of emphasis. Before the season starts, all of us are on these big conference calls and Zooms with the National Football League, and they point out the things that the officials are going to be watching for. Sportsmanship was mentioned in that conversation, the one that I was in, about 100 times. And here we are. So this is exactly what they don't want.
Well,
first off, Greeny,
I don't care how many phone calls you're on, how many Zooms. Spitting never comes up because it's something you do not expect to happen. This is something that it's not just about football. This is about personal respect, right? This is about humanity. You don't believe that you're going to have players on the field that will disrespect others in this manner. So no matter what calls you get on, what videos you show, you don't feel like you have to show this to grown, adult, professional men to be able to know how to handle whether it's confrontations, arguments, disagreements on the football field.
For sure. This would have been awful a year ago. However, in this case, it leads to my question, Peter, could he get suspended?
Yeah, look, I don't want to be clutching pearls here. The NFL's big target audience is youth right now.
Yeah.
With the flag football, and they want to teach how to play the game and how to play it right. When we were on these Zooms about point of emphasis, they were worried about using weapons and gestures in the end zone and saying that's going to be a flag. They didn't even think of spitting to Ryan
because
Clark's
it's
point.
common sense thinking, right?
Can he be suspended? I will promise you this. Roger Goodell in Brazil, watching the game with his inner circle, there was no way they were anticipating the start of the 2025 season to begin with a player spitting on another man. I would not be shocked if there was further discipline.
In my opinion, you can't not suspend this player. You just, I rarely say something like this, but this is the showcase of the NFL to start us after a long offseason where all these fans and all these kids are waiting. And I was at the flag football championships in Canton, Ohio. I called it a couple years ago. It is a huge emphasis for the National Football League to get young girls into football and keep the youth coming through flag football. And this type of sportsmanship, if it's shown on the showcase when everybody is watching, everyone now has to see the example of what happens to a player that does.
It's also, too, though, it's the highest paid football player in the history of the NFL, and it's one of the best young football players in the NFL in the showcase game of the season.
It feels worth pointing out the Eagles' next game is against Kansas City. That is a Super Bowl rematch, and so we'll see if the league chooses to suspend the player for that. Having said that, this tale of two Jalens last night for the Eagles. One of them gets thrown out before the game even begins, and to your point, the other one pitches a perfect game.
I thought he was fantastic. He was perfect. I don't think you could have played better if you were Jalen Hurts. Carried the football team in many ways, and it was certainly the decision-making throwing the football, 19 of 19 when it came to that, which is ridiculous. But it was the legs, and it was interesting to see how the Cowboys defensively played. This is the first touchdown. This is called match coverage, meaning, and RC and Teddy know this, you're going to match where the people are route-wise, and you can't give seams to Hurts or get on different levels if you're the rusher. That rusher goes inside. No one's accounting for with their eyes to Jalen Hurts. You see it. This is 3rd and 5. There's another version of a match coverage where every defender has a viable option. Now what happens is those 4 defenders get on different planes. Look at how they're each stacked instead of creating a wall in front. You cannot do that to a player like Jalen Hurts. His patience in the pocket, retreat, and then finds the seam. That's a really big 3rd down conversion to kind of equal score. Now another opportunity, 2nd and goal. There's the match coverage once again. All those defenders are getting displaced. They got responsibilities in coverage. And once that edge rusher goes inside, Dickerson, meet my thigh, and then the display. Look at the levels. Teddy, you know this. RC, you know this. You cannot do that. And so there's certainly a lack of rush connectivity, but also Jalen was just tremendous. When he saw those guys leave, take off.
And I tell you, among those who were fascinated by watching last night's game was the man everyone has said, oh, look who's here. Stephen A. is, come on over here, Stephen A. Come on over and say hello.
Bro, you did not walk in. You didn't walk in here like that. Then all of a sudden the camera comes on and your entire walk changed. You went to your NBA arena walk.
My walk does not change.
Don't do the
Stop
NBA
deceiving
arena
the public. That's how I walk.
That's not how you
That's how I walk.
That is not.
You see the Hollywood. You see me at General Hospital. You see me here. I just did Good Morning America. That's why I'm here. And by the way, I'm proud of those sneakers that you're wearing. I brought you a new pair. I actually did because you desperately needed it.
What size?
But when you got it, I thought it was 13.
Stephen A., give us a quick taste. You got exactly what you wanted. The Cowboys were they devastated.
I don't need to give you a tape. Y'all got that covered. Y'all got it covered. What's up, man? How you doing, babe? You know what I'm saying? Why you frowning at me? You know you love me, bro. I mean, you can't be looking. You can't be looking at the audience and nothing but love. Oh my God. I love this man right here. I love this man. Bro, I didn't want to interrupt. Y'all do the great show that y'all doing because I'm learning more. Y'all all teach me. But damn it, I don't know. Y'all teach me, okay? But they lost. As I knew they would. That's all I'm going to say.
When you said yesterday, you were like, it'll be a competitive game in the first half, remember? And he's like, and then the Eagles will blow them out. When the weather came, I had to go to bed. I was like, yo, he might have literally called this game.
I thought the Eagles were in trouble because I couldn't believe how idiotic Jalen Carter was. Okay. I thought he was baited by Dak Prescott. Because Dak Prescott's put to the ground first, but you can't put yourself in that position to hurt your teammate like that. You just can't do that.
We were just discussing whether or not Jalen Carter could get suspended for another game. This is a league point of emphasis.
I think he deserved it. I think he deserved it. No question about it. I mean, he's a star player, so important to that team. You just can't be that selfish and that immature. You can't do something like that. And as men, we all know this. Yeah. There's very, very few things you can do more insulting than spitting at a person. And we all know who's the #1 protected player on a football field? It's the quarterback. He spit at Dak Prescott. Like, how stupid can you be? That's just not smart.
Stephen A. Company on the way. Love to see you. Thank you very much. It was just on GNA.
Well, that was not the one. That's much better. That's much better. Front sensors around Jalen Carter. When we're looking at the runs of Javonte Williams, when you see Miles Sanders go for 49, those are plays where you immediately think to yourself, where is Jalen Carter? And you know where he was? He was at the casino down the street, probably watching the game because Big Dom had to walk him into the locker room. You cannot do that. And if you're Nick Sirianni, you have to make an example out of him. That's one of those times that you walk in the meeting and you put the film on, and you know how you do it. Bill Belichick would do this. He'd put the film on, then he'd cut it off, and he'd only show Jalen Carter spitting on Dak Prescott, and you got to cuss him out. You got to tell him how big of a mistake this is. You got to tell him how he let the entire team down. And if you continue to do this, you'll never be the player you're supposed to be, and certainly not the man.
And also what that did for Dallas. I mean, I'm watching this game in terms of what's the mentality like of an entire team that they know the ownership and the upstairs got rid of their best player probably less than a week ago. So how do they come out mentally? Then the Eagles' best player on defense gets thrown out, and all of a sudden it's like, we got a chance. We got this. They just gave them life.
Philly, yes, Jalen Carter.